Can the Master Chief survive or even help fight back against analog horrors if sent on a mission to save humanity from them? Well, in this video, I'll examine the Master Chief and compare him to entities and creatures from a few analog horrors. John 117, or more commonly known as the Master Chief, was one of the few select people who were selected for the Spartan 2 program. His better build, great mentality, and luck made him an exceptional candidate even though he was just 6 years old. In this program, he and many others were put through rigorous training and doctrine in order to make humanity's strongest soldiers. But the training wasn't enough. They needed augmentations. These dangerous and experimental augmentations killed several and disabled several more of the Spartan 2 candidates. Others were able to benefit from the augmentations, but with some complications. Then there was John, and a few others, that survived and were able to fully utilize the augmentations without any drawbacks, apart from the scars from the surgeries. After the preliminary stages, the trainings, augmentations, and practice missions, John 117 went on to serve around 3 decades in the UNSC, fighting aliens and partaking in other highly dangerous missions. This made him one of the most decorated soldiers, having just about every medal except the Prisoner of War medallion. So, what is Master Chief capable of? Well, the augmentations made his muscles stronger, more explosive, and much denser, allowing for more strength and speed without too much mass gain, which also maximizes mobility and speed. His bones were also improved, making them a few times stronger than regular human bones, so they could withstand the increased power from the muscles and external forces without breaking or chipping. John 117 also had several mental improvements, which are better reaction time, better processing, place to connect futuristic stuff directly to the brain, and other neurological improvements along with overall intelligence. Other internal improvements were his organs and senses that were all enhanced as well. For overall capabilities without the suit, it is somewhat vague what John 117 can do in adulthood, but for the most part he is either slightly better than the best human athletes of today in their respective category, or 2 to 3 times better than them. With the suit though, he gets giant improvements to all of his skills and strengths, and even physicality. His speed goes up to a top running speed of 65 miles per hour, but at the cost of ripping his tendons. His durability is similar to that of a medium to heavy tank, not taking into account the energy shield, which gives him an extra layer of defense, which just from the game's health bars and all that is about equal to or a little less than the suit itself. And it also regenerates fully very quickly after not taking any damage. His strength in this suit is also magnified by around 5 times or so, which would allow him to flip the light and medium-sized vehicles in Halo games, which are about 2 to 4 tons. His punches in the suit are also able to punch through titanium-plated walls and floors as seen in this scene. The suit also grants several major enhancements to his senses, and then the human weaponry in Halo that Master Chief uses is also absurd. The sidearms are similar to high-caliber rifles that are used by snipers, and the other guns are equal to guns that can only be used or fired on or by vehicles today. Then there's the alien weaponry. Most of the weapons of the aliens are either hot plasma or spiky things that can penetrate bulletproof armor and then explode. Now, the plasma in the different guns is utilized a little bit differently, but in summary it's all just about plasma burning things. Then the grenades of both humans and aliens are just big, strong bombs. Quite a bit bigger than normal grenades in case you were wondering. And of course, I could include several other abilities which the Mjolnir suits have, but let's just stick with this. So now on to the analog horrors. But before that, please subscribe with all notifications, like, comment as well, and check out my second channel for other types of content like gaming. Let's now begin with Prehistoric Emergence Analog Horror. This analog horror is about dinosaurs coming back from extinction and causing mass disruptions to humanity and the ecosystems. And that's pretty much it as of now. There are a few key species, both aquatic and terrestrial, with the former being Megalodon, Dunkleosteus, Mosasaur, Livyatan, Anomalocaris, and Big Squid, and the latter being Mammoth, Megalania, Titanoboa, Vasuki indicus, Thylacoleo, Brachiosaurus, and Tyrannosaurus. Oh, and there's some flying dinos too, like the Quetzalcoatlus. And there are, of course, others, but they're too small to be threatening, so there's no point in really examining them. But what would happen if Master Chief was there to handle the dinosaurs? Well, at first Master Chief would... Damn, let me talk. Okay, you know what, let's get rid of the guns, how about that? So Master Chief would be able to win against all terrestrial flying dinos. Why? Because none of them are strong enough to damage the armor and get to the squishy human inside. The guns in Halo would also be way more than enough for every terrestrial creature, and it'll just pretty much rip them apart. And even with just hands, Master Chief has enough punching force to punch through even the large dinosaurs like the T-Rex and Brachio. Although for those two it would take a bit to kill them because there's a lot of biomass that he would have to rip through to get to the vital organs. But now, what about the aquatic dinos? Well, they would fare quite a bit better. Because of the titanic proportions and much stronger hide, the water dinos could somewhat withstand Master Chief's punches if we just dropped them in the water with no jetpack or anything to help them. And of course, with guns, Master Chief would beat them pretty easily, although a bit bigger, so it would take a couple more shots. But he would have to do all of this within 15 minutes or so, while also being at the bottom of the sea, because the armor is very heavy, and it does allow the user to kind of breathe without oxygen, but only for 15 or so minutes, because that's the reserve of oxygen it can have. And another issue with him just sinking to the bottom like a rock is that if he didn't have guns, it'd be pretty hard for him to get to the creatures and actually hurt them if they didn't get close. And even if they do get close and bite him with a sneak attack, even the strongest biting creature, the Megalodon's teeth wouldn't be able to survive such incredible forces being acted upon them, so it would just kind of break the teeth of the Megalodon. Vita Carnis is an analog horror based on living meat creatures that have recently come to Earth by unknown means. They've established themselves as part of an overall ecosystem, even fulfilling some ecological niches, making it so the ecosystem do not suffer by their arrival. The current creatures in Vita Carnis are the Meatworm, Trimming, Crawl, Host of Influence, Monolith, Singularity, Harvester, Mimic, and Elder Mimic. The Trimming is just a kind of meatball with legs and organs. The Crawl is a plant, but just made of meat. The Meatworm is somewhat large at around 5 meters, fully grown, but it only eats carrion and is non-aggressive. The Mimic and Elder Mimic are anthropomorphic creatures that hunt humans. They do so by ambush and have weak spots that are also vulnerable to gunfire and physical attacks. The Host is a stationary hunter that uses spores to mind control prey so they come up close to the host, so it can cut them down and kill them. The Harvester is another stationary creature that hunts with poisonous traps rather than spores though. Then the Monolith is a titanic 120-meter meat titan with amazing regeneration EMP abilities. It is usually stationary, but sometimes rampages through cities. There's also the Singularity, which is just an anomalous glass orb that spawns Crawl around it. So what would happen if Master Chief was assigned a mission to clear out some of the Vita Carnis? Well, for the Crawl, Trimming, and Meatworm, okay, let's move on to the Mimic, Harvester, and Host, since they would... Okay, so Master Chief easily beats the Trimming, because raccoon-sized meatball is about as dangerous as an angry house cat. The Crawl is just a plant made of meat. The Meatworm is a strictly scavenger, so it wouldn't even attack him. And the large 5-meter worm would just die if you break its protective membrane around it. The Mimic is weaker than Chief without the armor, so it could be boxed to death. The spores of the Host would not work on Chief because the suit has highly advanced air filters, and can even seal itself off completely from intaking air. And even if somehow a spore got through the armor and made Chief sit in front of the Host, it couldn't damage Chief because of the really strong armor. Without the armor though, Chief does lose to the Host and the Harvester, which, you know, the Harvester is also the same story as the Host. The tendrils can't get through the armor to actually poison him. But then the Elder Mimics and Monoliths, they're a little bit more interesting. Well, maybe just the Monolith. Elder Mimics could possibly resist some gunfire from both alien and human weaponry, but a well-placed or even accidental shot to the head would kill it. Without guns though, Chief is far more physically superior than the Mimic in pretty much every way. But if you take off the armor, the Elder Mimic versus Master Chief would be a fair fight because they're somewhat comparable. Naked Chief has strength intelligence while the Elder Mimic has durability. But now for the monolith. This is the only actual fight. Master Chief cannot kill a monolith with just the human, Covenant, or brute weapons from Halo alone. Maybe some other gun in the newer games, but not these ones. The monoliths have just crazy regeneration, and as seen from the repeated rocket shots and heavy gunfire, it's kind of hard to kill them. And their size doesn't help because with 1, 2, maybe even 3 hits, they can kill Master Chief. And remember, this is because they're 120 meters tall, and their limbs are quite huge. In an actual confrontation though, it would be difficult for the monolith to hit the small, tiny, really fast and maneuverable Master Chief. And since it would take a couple hits, one for the energy shield and 1 or 2 more for the actual Master Chief inside, kind of like the Halo games, it would be difficult to get all those hits off quickly enough before the shield comes back. But then there's an issue with Master Chief that he doesn't have the firepower alone to beat a monolith. He would have to have some sort of aid from allies or even military support to actually do something about the monolith. And if you're wondering about the singularity, it's just an anomalous ball of glass so far from what is known. In Gemini home entertainment, several creatures like woodcrawlers have invaded Earth to try and infect the planet for the Iris. The story is told through educational type videos, edited in a style when VHS and cable was the bleeding edge of technology. The woodcrawler, although not fully shown, appears to be a spider-like entity. They've been shown to destroy cars, rip through metal walls, and attack people. On the wiki, they are also stated to be quite stealthy, even for their large size. Then there's the Wretch, which is just a mutated bear that is somewhat similar to the woodcrawler, but much bigger and stronger, with the added ability of absorbing any creature it touches. The Iris is the main antagonist of Gemini home entertainment. This planet spawns all the little critters of the Gemini home entertainment series, and it's also alive, having its own organs. The Iris also has telekinetic and technopathic powers as well. Then there is the Root and Nature's Mockery. The Root is a tiny little parasite that gets into living beings and then turns them into a Nature's Mockery. And this plant-like creature absorbs any creature that comes in contact with it skin to skin. So if Chief was sent on a mission to destroy the planet, what would happen? Well, let's first see what Master Chief could do against the woodcrawlers and the other creatures on Earth. With no weapons, this fight is somewhat equal. Each of them is strong enough to kill the other quite easily. The woodcrawler has enough strength to actually break through the Mjolnir armor, since it's somewhat comparable to a brute, and a brute, you know, has boxed Master Chief. But Master Chief in his suit is also quite strong and is able to rip apart the woodcrawler, so it would go either way. Now with the Wretch, Chief would lose without any weapons. It's just far bigger and stronger than a woodcrawler. But now with weapons, Master Chief could easily win, even if he is ambushed by the Wretch. Then dealing with the Root or Nature's Mockery would also be easy, as the armor makes it so no direct contact to Master Chief's skin would be possible from either. And if you think the Root would be able to fit through the air filtration system of the suit, it wouldn't. It's not small enough to do so, at least not from the sizes that the wiki gives. So in a mission against the Iris, Master Chief would actually be overwhelmed if he went directly to the planet to kill it, with no help. As soon as Master Chief starts to attack the planet and do some considerable damage to it, it would respond by spawning several creatures around Master Chief, kind of like an immune response of sorts. And at first, Master Chief would be able to hold them off on his own, but his ammo would deplete. But if Master Chief is given enough military support along with giant bombs, he could somewhat complete the mission, although the telekinesis and technopathy might make it very, very difficult to do so. Or they could just kind of shoot the planet at a distance just inside the ships, which would make it much safer and a lot easier, and they probably wouldn't have to deal with the telekinesis or technopathy. That is, if it could even disrupt the highly advanced technology of Halo.